Good evening. Recently, I gave a talk to this group on what the Buddha saw. And in that talk, I noted that the people who followed the Buddha tried to articulate in words what they also learned from the Buddha, but not so much having heard him, but having practiced what he saw, and then articulated that in terms of their own experience of what the Buddha saw. So that is what we have in many Buddhist scriptures that indicate in words what basically is beyond words. So what I am offering here is another useless attempt at pointing to what the Buddha saw, but not with the aim of describing something that you will take and say, oh, okay, that's what the Buddha saw, or you understand it, and then, okay, now I understand that. But as an invitation for each and everyone who sits in this mode of Zen, or who sits in just being still, stopping the mind from analyzing and from comparing and from grasping, and just allowing it to be there and opening the eyes of the heart to see, so that each one of us may also see what the Buddha saw. So I'm going to use words that hopefully may indicate a way of seeing that you yourself might realize, oh, I know that. And therefore you can deepen your practice and be confident that you're seeing what the Buddha saw. So now, what is that? The descriptions of the Buddha's awakening describe him as having sat all night on the 7th day of the 12th month. And so in the Western calendar, with its names of months and days, we call that the evening of the 7th of November. And so the awakening is supposed to have happened on the 8th of December, not November. So that is a day that is celebrated as the Enlightenment Day of the Buddha. And it is said that what happened then was, as he sat all night and then still in that deep samadhi, that deep state of concentration, and that deep state of non-separateness that he found himself in, as the morning star rose on the horizon and his eyes fell on the morning star, he awakened. Now, what was it about the morning star that awakened him? That again is something that will lead us into a useless sidetracking, but we can see that based on other descriptions and based on what we can understand from the Buddha's own teaching, is that he saw the star in the same way as the star was seeing him. In short, I'm using fumbling words here now that you can interpret or misinterpret, but this is a hint that when he saw the morning star, it was the same instant when he realized that the morning star was seeing him as he was seeing the morning star. In short, there was a fusion there. There was no longer any separation between what he was as somebody who's seeing and what he was seeing. So it's a way of seeing whereby the seer and the seen are no longer separate. In fact, the seer is no longer there. The star is no longer there. It is simply just that. So that experience of just that is a very direct way of using words to point out to that experience. And that oneness of the seer and the seen is something that can also be expressed by the word intimacy. When we say intimacy, we refer to that realm where there is that close sense of oneness and there is no separation. So a sense of being kin, being one, and being connected. All of these words, again, are pointing to that. And so in seeing, he also saw that he was being seen, so that there was no separation between him and the morning star, or the trees, the mountains, the clouds, the rivers. And so it was a sense of bridging the gap between the seer and the seen. Now, again, I'm going to take another angle from a Japanese cultural expression. There is a poet named Basho, whom some of you who have been reading on Japanese and may have heard about, or may have even read some of his haiku, who came up with a haiku that says, "From the bamboo, know of the bamboo. From the pine tree, know the pine tree." So what it is suggesting is that when we look at something like a pine tree or an oak tree, or we have a sycamore tree right here outside our house in our yard, when you look at a tree, remove all the thought that you are seeing the tree as if it were an object in front of you, that I am seeing a sycamore tree outside, or an oak tree. From the oak tree, learn of the oak tree. In short, see the oak tree from the point of view of the oak tree. Now you say, how can I do that? I'm right here sitting, and then there's the oak tree out there. But that's precisely the point where we are misled into that dualistic thinking that I am here and the world is out there. In the depths of the samadhi that we can cultivate, in the depths of that sense of oneness, as we go deeper into that stillness, we experience that dissolution of the self-conscious I and the dissolution of the object that is confronting the I, whether it is seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, feeling, and it is simply just that. And the little I, as the little I, this egoic self, disappears, then what appears is simply what is. Oak tree in the garden, or sycamore tree, or cloud, or pebble, or desk, or chair. And when I say desk or chair or cloud or pebble, I'm not talking about something outside of me that I'm pointing to as an object, but those individual names are jumping out and they occupy the entire universe. Pebble. And in that moment, when I say pebble, it juts out, and that's the only thing that covers the whole universe. I seem to be talking nonsense here if you're listening with your common sense consciousness of subject-object, and that's precisely what we are invited to cut through and break away from in Zen, and be able to see from inside of things, as it were, a 360-degree angle. And in doing so, when we look around, we see everything as not separate from who I am. Everything is me, everything is kin. And so I can celebrate that kinship with everyone. I am not separate. And so the world's joys are my joys. The world's sufferings are my sufferings. And so now I can only devote the rest of my life to offering whatever little I have in alleviating the world's sufferings, because that is my own suffering. That is the outcome of our ongoing Zen practice, to care for the world, because it is ourself, because it is none other than what we hold most precious among us, and that is none other than we ourselves. We are the world, so this song from the 80s goes, and there's a very deep ring of truth in that. So let us listen to that song again.